Lads, welcome back to Fusion YuGiOh. Today, we are showing you the explosive, the powerful, the consistent Drytron Megalith. So, without any jumping about, we're going to dive right into this deck profile. Starting off with 3 copies of Drytron Alpha Thurbin. Okay, Thubin. I'm sorry, Thubin. Alpha lets you add a ritual monster. All it does, it needs to do is tribute a Drytron monster or a ritual monster, and then you get to add it. And you can do that from hand or graveyard. It really helps with the consistency. 2 copies of Zeta. Zeta lets you add a ritual spell when you do that effect. 2 Delta. Delta lets you draw a card by revealing one. The extra draw power is really helpful in this deck because you want to see as many resources as possible. And then 2 copies of Gamma, which summons back from the graveyard. If you see all 4 of these, you're going off. You're going to have a great time. Then 3 copies, continuing the Drytron package. 3 copies of Nova. Nova being able to be the quick launch. The only difference is that, you know, it's not a quick play spell. The card's crazy good. 2 copies of Fafnir. Fafnir lets you add any ritual or any Drytron spell or trap from the deck to your hand except itself. And it stops your opponent from being able to negate ritual summons, which is huge. And then a lot of people that play Drytron, they like to play only 1 of this card. I think it's better at 2 so they can't Cyclone it and you're out. 2 Meteonis Drytron. This card's crazy. It's not once per turn on the summoning. It summons from graveyard or from hand, which is great. So your recursion ability is just amazing. And being able to just do a lot of different effects is insane. Next up is going to be 3 copies of Cyber Emergency. Emergency letting you add 1 is super helpful. It really does fix your hands. And that essentially means that this is all Drytrons, and that's a lot of Drytron monsters. Because you're what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, wait, 5, 7, yeah, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, or 15, 16, 17. You're running 17 Drytron monsters, so you're going to see them, and this just helps you with your consistency, seeing them, adding them to your hand, or summoning them to the field and then using them as link material before summoning to your field. And that does it for the Drytron package. Drytron package is pretty hefty. Next up is the Megaliths. So for the Megaliths, we got 2 copies of Full. This card's ridiculous. The fact that this card is common is insane. Megalith Full lets you add a ritual monster from your graveyard to your hand, and this card's level becomes that level. Works really well with another engine that we're going to get into. The other thing is you can ritual summon from your deck with this card, just as long as you meet or exceed the level of the monster, so you get to ritual summon from the deck. That's crazy, and it's a quick effect, so you can do it on your opponent's turn. Next up is Phalig. Phalig is really good because it's like your OTK enabler. All monsters on your side of the field gain 300 attack and defense for each ritual monster in your graveyard, and that's really good. This is actually a huge part of the OTK. You're able to go second and kill them if you can get into this card. This deck doesn't do great going second, but it can do, like, it can make plays. 2 copies of Bethor. Bethor lets you destroy cards on your opponent's side of the field up to the number of ritual monsters in the graveyard. You were able to use this off of Full to nuke the field on your opponent's turn, which is pretty good. 1 copy of Ophiel. Ophiel lets you add a Megalith monster from your deck to your hand. 1 copy of Hagith lets you add a Megalith spell or trap from the deck to the hand. Pretty good. And then 1 copy of Oak. This lets you draw a card and discard a card, and then you can ritual summon on your opponent's turn. Pretty good stuff. The last 2 slots for the Megalith package is going to be 2 copies of Unformed, which lets you summon equal to half the level of whatever you tribute to use it. So you could summon the level 4s by discarding level 8s. It just helps you fix hands. It's not a super big Megalith package, but it's all super searchable, so that's why you don't need it to be super big. Next up is the Fairies. Let's dive into the Fairies. So we're going to start with 1 copy of Herald of Ultimateness. It's the ultimate. You don't go into it a whole lot, but it's a huge level at level 12, so it actually helps you get into your level 8s because you just have to discard a level 4 then. So you can go, like, with Unformed, so you can go this and a level 4, and you're able to summon your level 8s, which is pretty good. 1 copy of Ben 10. It's Ben 10. It searches all the fairies. It's the fairy package, so you gotta have it. 1 copy of Natasha. Natasha is pretty good in grindier games. It's mostly here just because it's another ritual monster. You can put Eat a 10 in, but because it's little and because its graveyard effect isn't terrible, that's why I'm running it. Like I said, you could run more of the Cyber Angel package and it would be perfectly acceptable in this list. Because you'll see in a second. One copy of Vanity's Ruler. Okay, hold on. Let me explain how many copies of this card I'm currently running. Okay, so this is all the ways to get to one card, this card, Vanity's Ruler. This is insane. You are essentially running 2, 4, 7, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. You are running 20 copies of Vanity's Ruler in this deck. That's insane. That is insane consistency for a deck that's thought to be dead. Okay, now that you've seen that I'm running so many copies of Vanity's Ruler, we also got 2 copies of Manju. Manju is just an additional normal summon, and it helps with making rank 4s, which is big. 2 copies of Herald of the Orange Light. It's one of the only hand traps that we run in the deck. The fact that it's searchable is really nice. I like searchability. 1 copy of Herald of the Purple Light. It's Purple Light. It lets you stop trap cards. Trap cards are good. And then next is just the final supporters. So we're running 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. It's just huge. It lets you add a lot. 2 copies of Extra Foolish Burial. This is important, and I'll show you why when we get to the extra deck. But being able to dump a card from your extra deck to the graveyard is really nice. And then 2 copies of Ritual Sanctuary. This card is insane, being able to add more Ben 10s. You could even put Terraforming in here, and it wouldn't be a bad thing because you've got 4 field spells that you could run. Alright, now into the extra deck. The first one is Herald of the Arclight. Arclight is really good because when sent from the graveyard, you can add a ritual monster from your deck to your hand. That's pretty good. So you get to just add your Ben 10, and there you go. That's it. 2 copies of Ints. Nits is able to pop a card. It's literally just in here as a flex pick because the rest of the extra deck doesn't matter super hard. Next up is the rank 4s. We run 1 Abyss Dweller because it's Abyss Dweller and it's a good card. We run 1 copy of Gallant Granite because we can get into our what's it called? We can get into our rocks. 1 Daigusto Emerald for recursion. 1 Link Karibo because it's Link Karibo. 1 Relinquished Anima because it lets you eat monsters and you're playing a bunch of level 1s, so these 2 are really important. 1 Geonator Transverser. This card's really good. It just lets you steal cards. 1 Ausa. You play a bunch of Earth. 1 Cross Sheep. Draw power. 1 Herald of the Mirage Lights. I never make it, but it's here as an option. 1 Boral Sword for the Phalig OTK. And 1 Apollousa for going first and stopping your opponent from playing the game. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Drytron Megalith. This deck is actually really consistent. You can cheese out some really fun games with it. It does have its weaknesses, like you can't fit really many hand traps. The only thing you really need to add to it would be like, you could put in the sideboard like Dark Ruler No More and Forbidden Droplets and Back Row Hate. But for the most part, the deck is really good. It can do a lot, and the only thing I like when you're siding, I would just cut the Heralds. Because you want Vanity's Ruler, I would cut like the Heralds and maybe the Natasha, so you can break boards. There's a couple of things you could do to change it, but I really like this list. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that other good shizzle. And until next time, lads, good fun. Have luck.